My name is Jerm. This is Germ Warfare, the battle of ideas.
It's been a while, Simon Goddek. Thank you for joining me in the trenches.
Hey, what's up? It's been a long while.
It has. Like almost a year.
Yeah, I think a year. Year and a bit.
What have you been up to?
The same old thing. So once you're living off grid, it's you're doing literally the same every day without doing the same thing. So you have no real routine, but at the same time you have a routine, and trying to not kill your animals. It's a rough environment here. So there's new things you have to do every day, but you could just do things every day. Otherwise, the system fails.
Well, I mean, those who are listening and not watching won't see the Brazilian flag behind you, so clearly you're in Brazil.
Yes.
How's your team doing, by the way? I'm not following.
My what?
Your team, Brazil. How are they doing?
World Cup?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't care too much about football, and it's not my team. I cheered for the Netherlands, of course. But they all sucked. They all sucked. No, I wasn't, for me, it's football or soccer. I think you call it soccer even in South Africa.
No.
You're one of the few countries.
Well,
you call it football?
That's a good question. It depends on who you talk to.
I think black people say soccer and whites say football, isn't it?
I think that's right.
Yeah.
I've never known what to say, football or soccer, because I don't follow it. I don't play it.
Well, I think it's too much show nowadays. And I also consider this World Cup rigged. There were like super weird decisions. And, people get very emotional about people kicking a ball. I think it's funny, to watch a game or two or to make some comments online. But it doesn't touch my emotions too much.
Me neither.
It's not like, okay, well, my team lost and people are like crying or are being sad or emotional. I'm just happy France didn't make it to the final for racist reasons. I mean, they say it's racist, but I think it's not France. It's like Africa playing.
Yes, I mean all the European teams are black.
Well, no. So if you look at the Spanish team, it's obviously, I think they have one or two black players, which is totally fine, which represents the population there right now, doesn't it? Croatia, for example, the Eastern European countries are also not black. If you consider Turkey a European country, it's not black at all. So Norway, I think, had one or two black players, which is it's totally fine, right? But France, I think they had one or two in the squad of 25.
Is it Norway that has that guy now that's making waves? Is that huge?
Holland.
Yes.
Yeah, he's huge. Yeah.
And it turns out that he's on the right side of history. He eats a carnivore diet, I believe, and
he's based. He's super based.
He's not vaccinated.
Yeah.
The guy's a machine.
He is.
I've watched some short clips of him, and he doesn't connect the ball all that often. But when he does, 3 or 4 times in a game, and suddenly it's a goal.
Yeah, only not against Argentina. But, different story.
So you and I became friends, I think, early on in the fake pandemic.
I think 2021.
So we've been friends 5 years now. I'm trying to even remember how it all happened. Let's quickly go back.
I know how it happened.
Okay, right. Let's do it because I need a refresher here.
Yeah, I got a friend who I went to university with, and she was like, "Oh, do you know Germ Warfare? He's as based as you." I'm like, "No, I never heard of this dude." And
that's a good start.
Yeah. I think at one point we were in a group together and like, hey, you're Germ, blah, blah, blah. And, I was told about you and we started talking. And you were like, oh, do you want to come on my show? Like, like you always say, you want to come on my show?
Yes.
I was like, yeah, sure. So
it's a great party trick, dude. You go up to someone and say, hey, do you want to come on my show?
Yeah. I think then you first worked, for yourself, and then was TNT Radio, and then it was like, Another thing, I know you work for.
Well, now it's UK column, but I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, it's all kind of the same thing. It's all podcasting. It's just different kind of outlets.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then you came into my TNT show. No, you actually came into my
Your normal show.
my normal personal pre-TNT show back in the day.
Yes.
Okay. So let's go back a little bit. I mean, I know your story, but a lot of people listening now might not know your backstory. Let's quickly go through that.
So starting when?
Well, you were a scientist.
I were. I mean, I still am. I mean, like once you're a scientist, you're always a scientist, right?
Yes.
But I was science at an institution, scientific institution, university, and later on at a scientific research center in the Netherlands, right? So I was doing my, PhD, postdoc 2, like, what everybody does who wants to become a professor, who wants to teach, who wants to do science. I mean, that was the way to go pre-COVID, right? And my life was, I mean, it wasn't super normal, but it was like very normal, like standard for a scientist, right? I mean, being a scientist is no job where you have to be at work at 7 a.m. and you leave at 4 p.m. Right? So as a scientist, you come later, you work in the lab until late, or sometimes you skip a day because you're tired because you were at the lab there. But it's still like for a scientist, I was living a very normal, conventional life. I was renting an apartment in the Netherlands. I had a normal relationship. I did my groceries twice a week, like this kind of stuff, right? And I was biking to the university. I was writing my scientific papers, and I had an immense amount of citations. So I wanted to enter tenure track to become a full professor. All of this, all of my life seemed to be planned. Let's put it like this. And then, I wouldn't say unfortunately, but in that time I was working a lot on causal loop relationships on the human metabolism. So what's happening in our body, what causes what, which disease is caused by, which input, to put it in a very simple way. And I was writing papers to look into the root cause of, mental diseases. So I figured out, it's in many cases, it's the Western diet. It's lack of vitamin D, lack of omega-3 fatty acids, EPA, DHA. And when you do this stuff, you always, you connect new stuff. I was looking into gut health. And then, of course, I also got into pathogens, like which pathogens cause what. So that was my state of research in 2019, just in time. So when they said, oh look, there's a dangerous virus, I think they said so in December 2019, but nobody had it on the screen, so I wasn't paying attention then. But in February 2020, it was obvious what's going on, or what. That they're planning something, or back in the time was like there's something going on. So I didn't think like, oh, they're planning stuff. So almost nobody was thinking in February 2020. And so in February 2020, I created an X account, a social media account. I wasn't always into social media. So, and I was just following the news until my birthday was March 16th, 2020, when they said like, oh, when the WHO was saying that there is a global, or like they declared the pandemic a global pandemic. I was in Brazil that time at my wife's place, and we were like, what the fuck, and this press conference was crazy. It was super crazy. So they were, trying to steer panic. And I was like, hey, this doesn't make any sense, right? So they were saying, look, everybody needs to wear a mask, everybody needs to stay inside and all this stuff. And, the food could run out and toilet paper. I'm like, what the fuck, right? So in April 2020, I was like, okay, let's take all my knowledge I collected the last couple of years and let's write a paper on vitamin D. Why you don't have to be afraid of the sniffles if you take vitamin D, and why it's important to take it in conjunction with vitamin K2, right, to avoid calcification, etc. So I wrote this publication or this paper, and it got published in a very high-ranked journal, Q1 journal in infectious diseases. And 3 peer reviewers. It got published in June, I think, June 2020. And that's when they started to attack me. And they, I mean they, right? They, literally, all virologists, the virologists, yes, this sect. They started to attack me. So my university got many emails with claims that said like, oh, I ran a vitamin D shop. And I can tell you, I didn't run a vitamin D shop back then. I wasn't even considering running a vitamin D shop. And I had to show my bank account. I had to show that I don't earn any money with vitamin D. I mean, I had to make myself naked, and it was like a humiliation. And they said like, oh, you really don't? I'm like, yeah, duh. And yeah, just continued. And then end of 2020, I was writing this now famous thread about this peer review process that was rigged regarding the COVID PCR protocol.
That's how I came across you.
Yes. So yeah, before that, I had my Twitter account, but I wasn't active. So I had like maybe 5 or 10 followers, so nobody could come across me. The John Doe, a bunch of numbers, right? So yeah, I wrote this thread. I think it went viral. I mean, like it had like a couple of thousand of likes, which is like, which I consider super viral. And I caught the attention of the virologists again. And this time it was really bad, really bad. So even the WHO was contacting my university. And yeah, so they fired me within a short period of time, just within weeks.
And you tried to sue them, if I remember.
No, not was the next one.
Oh, okay.
The next this was the one in the Netherlands. I could have sued them. I should have sued them. I was just letting it be. It was too much. I never had any too much attention on myself. I mean, in my field, people knew me, and I got scientific attention, but not like this global attention, which was a bit too much, right? Yeah. So they just kicked me out. They said like, they literally called me, said like, you have to know when to shut the fuck up. And I asked them, is my analysis wrong? They're like, no, it's not wrong. I was like, so it was fraud. Like, but sometimes you don't talk about, I'm like, what the fuck? So I was kind of relieved as well. And then I found during my last year of the postdoc, which was 2020, during the first year of the pandemic, I wrote a follow-up funding proposal, in which I included 13 universities and research institutes. And I wrote it myself in my free time, not even during my working hours, because I wanted to have, follow-up funding to enter tenure track. And the chance to get the funding is like 1% or something. And what's wild is I won this money, a couple of millions of dollars, right? But the money, of course, wouldn't go to me. It would go to the partner universities I put on the application, which included Wageningen University, the university where I used to work, and they of course said right away, no, we're not going to take you, and it's a no-go. Literally, the scientist who writes the application is always it's always hired. I was the first case probably ever that they didn't hire me, even though I got the money for them. And there were still 12 other partners on the application, right? So I was like, yeah, nice. I get a job somewhere else. So I contacted all of them, and they're also like, not you. No, we can't.
All 12.
We were told, yeah. Wait, 11. The last one said like, oh, we take you, the Norwegian ones. And so I was like, my opinion, right? You know my opinion about COVID. And they're like, oh yeah, we know it. It's fine. It's super based. I'm like, wow, that's cool. So I signed my contract. The same day I signed the contract, Twitter deleted suspended my account, which was lots of luck, right? Because I was just on Telegram. You remember that time we were all banned.
Yeah, we were banned. We all moved to Telegram.
with our Telegram group. I'm back on Telegram now. I post like every other week now. I totally forgot about this, to be honest. But like, we were all on Telegram, and like we were all literally in exile on Telegram. And during that time, I was just like, conducting my scientific work here in Brazil, because we had a project which was about a tropical, a high-tech, multi-trophic, multi-loop tropical agricultural system we had to set up. And we had a partner from Honduras on the application as well. But because of COVID, their government was like, saying, "Oh no, we're not gonna pay our part. We don't have money," so they had to drop out, and the whole project wouldn't go through if it wasn't for a greenhouse in the tropics. And they were asking me, "Oh, would you?" I'm like, "Oh, wait, I have land, but I don't want to put a greenhouse on my land right now, right? It's like, I don't want to do it right now, not for science. Oh, please do it, otherwise we lose the funding." I'm like, "All right." I'm going, okay, cool. They're like, you have to pay up front. You pay, and then we later reimburse you once the greenhouse is done. I was like, "Oh, cool." So the greenhouse was done after 1.5 years, in end of December, 2021, right? Unfortunately, I got my greenhouse. I got my Twitter account back in end of the year 2021, just like when the greenhouse was ready. So after I got my Twitter account back, which was right after Christmas, I think it was like the 27th or 28th. I remember it because we were at my parents' house in the Netherlands, and at night my phone was going off, like with all the notifications on Twitter. I'm like, "Well, this can't be." And then I looked it up, and it was like, "Yo, welcome back." And within like 2 weeks, they fired me in Norway for exceeding my rights of free speech on Twitter. I know how you can exceed your right of free speech, but at least this is what the first lawyer's letter told me. Later they said, "Oh, it was a mistake. We didn't mean to say that."
I remember.
It's like, yeah. They said like, "We sent this accidentally. Of course, this wasn't the reason." I was like, "Of course." Like, what is? Then they made up new reasons. So the greenhouse, they never paid me the greenhouse. So which is wild, because it was like $40,000 or something. So literally all the money I earned from them, I put it into the greenhouse, and they're like, "We reimburse you later." I'm like, "Okay." So, the story even gets crazy. I had a lawyer, and she missed some deadlines. She missed all the important deadlines, literally, and she forgot to put the right person on the greenhouse. So like, I paid the greenhouse with my startup because they needed a European startup to pay, because they couldn't send money to Brazil for the greenhouse. So I used my Dutch company to pay the greenhouse. And I sent this lawyer all the bills, all the money from my company. I was like, "Okay, you sue them with my company." And you just put my personal name on it. And of course I lost the case because she didn't put but like, I'm not a lawyer. I mean, like, I cannot check. And she's like, "Everything is fine." And then she missed the deadline. And she sent me an email. "Oh, like, it's all my fault, and sorry. And she has an insurance. They're going to pay me back." I'm like, "Fine." But since then, she's ghosting me. It's super wild. So it's super, I don't know. I don't want to, call anyone like control the position. But it was like, everybody I'm telling this, even other lawyers, they're like, "Oh, this is super weird. This is like super weird." So all these weird things happen, right? Around COVID, around, protecting the government, protecting the narrative. And so that's the case. So they took lots of money from me now, even though I won the case. So they said like, "Okay, they fired you with wrong reasons and all this stuff." So I, of course, had my claim there, but the greenhouse claim was so much higher. So they made me pay their lawyers because the greenhouse claim had a higher amount, right? And I lost this one because she put the wrong name on it. Like, super wild. So so that's the thing. And of course they made up all the crazy stuff. So they had to find proof against me, but they couldn't. So for example, one of their claims was, "Oh, I missed 2 meetings in the morning." And then I was like, I was showing them evidence, because my boss from Norway, he's been to my place here in the jungle. And back then there was no Starlink. There was 2G, 3G antenna. And whenever it was raining, I had no internet. You remember this? I mean, like, I was on your show, and I was like, "Okay, I could fall," And he knew this because he was complaining, "Well, oh, there's no internet here." So I was able to show the court, look, he even was here himself and he complained about the internet. So he knew I could miss the meetings, and there were emails. I'm like, I could miss the meetings. It's like, okay, so they made this kind of up. Okay, yeah, of course they did. And then he claimed he was never here and stuff. And of course I showed pictures of him being on my land and super wild stuff. And the only thing they found against me, and now it's actually super funny. So this is what they made the whole case about. In a private chat, private chat, like private Skype, WhatsApp chat, with one of my colleagues, right? We made fun of another colleague who is a socialist and vegan, and I called him a soy boy, right? Like triple vaccinated, double.
I see nothing
boosted.
wrong with any of that.
No. In a private chat, I called him a soy boy. Like talking like a girl, blah, blah, blah. I mean, like I was super humble. and they made the case on this lawyer of them was like in front of the court, and the judge is like, look what he did. He called him a soy boy. I was there laughing. I couldn't hold it. I was like, wow, this is your case? Like me in a private chat. It was no work email. It was no work something. And I call someone in private a soy boy, which is like super funny because if you saw this person, you would be like soy boy right away. And that's all they got. That's all they got. Imagine. That's all they got against me. Nothing else. Oh, and they said they accused other people of corruption on Twitter. But they didn't talk about this later anymore because do you remember Fissman, David Fissman? David Fissman. He was like one of the worst motherfuckers in Canada. He was like pushing the whole cancellation and vaccine narrative, and he was a scientist at I think Toronto University. Now he calls himself cis man because he's super woke and pro-trans as well. Oh, I
thought you were talking about that South African doctor who's in Canada who you also had a
this Alistair
yes.
Mac something.
Yes, him.
Oh, he's disgusting, man.
Yeah. He's the same.
Oh my.
He's also a soy boy.
Yeah. Yes, he's a soy boy. But Fissman and he they're friends, obviously. And yeah, so there are documents that you can see that David Fissman got money, right? And I was asking him like just a question on XA on a scale from 1 till 10. I put the tweets and the documents in a screenshot of the tweets and documents into my tweet that I wrote, and I was asking him like on a scale from 1 till 10, how corrupt are you? So they used this one against me, but like accusing someone of corruption, asking if someone's corrupt is a different thing. So they later didn't put it in the document anymore. But that's how they started. First they said like I exceed my free speech of my right of free speech, and then they said like I accused others of corruption. And then when they figured out he didn't, then they my former boss was telling all my colleagues, can you go through your private messages and find something? And all they found against me was soy boy. Yeah, it's that wild, and they didn't stop. So I mean like they just kept going. With the most expensive lawyers in Norway, they had like 3 lawyers against me, and they tried to make the whole case. And then, they eventually got me via my own lawyer, which is like insane. It's public documents, and it's everybody can look at it, and you see like, okay, this is you never win against the state. This is something you need to know. And I mean, like I won, but I still at the same time I lost. And they were so nasty. They actually said like, okay, let's make the deal. Okay, let's fin. I was like, I'm not gonna. I won the main case, and I was like, okay, I'm not gonna go IARP. I'm not gonna because I won money on the real case, and then they later appealed, but just on the monetary part, so I couldn't counter appeal. They just said like, oh yeah, because he lost the greenhouse one, which I in content didn't, but she put the wrong name on it, which is like weird. I mean, like you're as a lawyer, you don't put the wrong name. If there's a contract between a company and a research institute, you don't put a private name on it. You put the company's name on it, especially if all the bills also show the company's name. So, yeah, it's I don't know how you call it, but it's that's not how it's supposed to be. So they only got me via the fees of the part I lost. And actually, the greenhouse part was the small part of the whole. It was like 10% or 5% of the whole lawsuit, because the main one was like, okay, that they fired me illegally or against the law, and that's what I won. But the monetary part was on the greenhouse one, so they got me there, and they wanted me to pay $100,000 to their lawyers. But of course, this is not going to happen because my lawyer made the mistake. But still, it's fucked up, and that's the tricks they use against people who talk against the system. They even put they got their people everywhere. You have to be careful. So yeah, it was quite a shocking experience. But I mean, like it's telling everything, so that they don't go into detail. They don't check like, what is this person saying? Does it make sense? Right? Is it a good thing, or can we prove them wrong? No, they just go against you. And in the nastiest way possible. So they make stuff up. They made so much stuff up. They didn't have any evidence, of course, but they made so much stuff up. And whenever you said like, oh, where's the evidence? They're like, oh, we couldn't say. They like, for example, said like, oh, he's so annoying. Oh, we didn't want to be around him. And I was like, oh, wait, we saw each other in person like maybe 2 weeks. And they even were flying me in business class and stuff. And I had emails from them. Oh, it would be so good if you came for Christmas. Oh my gosh, what do you need? Come on, bring your wife, blah, blah, blah. Who does it if someone is annoying? Especially if like the Christmas part was a week before I got fired or 2 weeks. Like, why? It doesn't make any sense. Or they said stuff like that I had a very negative, what do you call these talks that you have once per year with as an employer with an employee? There's this.
It's like where they do a review.
Yeah. So they had this once a year, and mine was like full score. But of course, I didn't have this document. I had to document on my laptop, but they of course deactivated my work laptop. So they remotely deactivated everything. I made a copy of emails when he became super weird one day before I got fired, and he asked me for a private document. I was like copying all my mails of the last 2 years or something, luckily. So I had lots of proof against them, but like all these documents I didn't have access to. And it was full score, and I was asking them like, hey, why didn't you show me this? Show the score, show the documents, and they never did, of course. So they made this document, I think like 2 weeks before I got fired, like literally full score. The highest score, like perfect employee. And of course, in private Skype talks before I got fired, he told me, that he got lots of pressure from the human resource, and it's because of what I say online, and it's because, I got my account back, and there are so many complaints, and so because, I was working in this, on a project for some agriculture system in northern Norway, and there were also people on that project, right? And the weird thing is, the only evidence he got against me that people don't want to work together with me is like, I think 3 emails arriving at his email address on one day within 1 hour. 3 different people who don't know each other complaining about me, like all at the same time, and without naming something. They said like, oh, we don't want to work with him anymore, or oh, we don't like him, or something like this. But without, or like, he has been rude, but not like saying how I've been rude. So when you have to make up, when you make something up, you're not specific. And like 3 emails within like a couple of minutes, arriving at his email saying that, oh, we don't like him. It's like as if he sent them and he's like, oh, we need something against him. Can you please, we want to kick him out. Can you please send us an email saying you don't want to work with him anymore? And he forgot, like, it's super weird if you present evidence that all arrive at his email address at the same time of people that don't know each other.
I think it's obvious that during the COVID era, anybody who was in a position of some kind of scientific or medical authority like you, who challenged the status quo, would have been destroyed in some way or form. A British doctor was on my show recently, David Cartland. Very similar thing.
I know David Cartland. We're friends. Oh my gosh, what they did to him is actually even worse.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And it's all the same thing, because they don't like what you are saying. What you're saying is true, so they'll find any number of other things to take you down with.
Yeah, what this Indian gay dude did to him is like fucking insane.
Soy boy.
Yeah, he's like really, he's a faggot. Not even a soy boy. He's a fucking faggot. Disgusting. I mean, like, not you know. Soy boy. Oh wow! You also have a Rodecaster studio.
Yes. I almost never
Soy
use the
boy.
Oh, that's actually better. Wait. Have I got the same one? Where is it? I don't know where that one is.
You did the monster right.
But now, what have you been doing since then?
What have I been doing since then?
I mean, I've seen
That's a good-
photographs. I haven't been to your place in the jungle. By the way, I really do want to go, but it's...
I became an electrician.
What? No.
Yeah. Not like I didn't follow a course, but I followed like millions of YouTube courses, AI courses.
Right. Okay.
And I have I met a friend here, a super based old elderly man. I don't know. I think he's 60. It's not super elderly, but anyways, and he's from Holland, and he's a electrician on yachts, on like billionaires' boats, ships. And he was coming to my place, and like we were installing the whole solar system, and he taught me everything. So, and of course, with hours of YouTube, online course, etc. Now I built my own electricity systems here, because there's sort of lightning, and I'm 100% off grid. So that's a skill I learned in the last year.
Simon, that is one of the things that I admire so much about you. I mean, I've seen videos and photos of where you stay, and it is legit. I mean, that is a huge amount of work that you are quite literally in the jungle.
Yeah, in the middle of the jungle. Yeah.
And
jungle.
It's incredible what you've done with the chickens and the river and your house that's made of wood, if I remember correctly. It's like a log cabin almost.
Yeah, no, not really. It's
really.
like it's like it has the foundation.
Okay.
Like it's made of wood of eucalyptus, but the rest is concrete.
You've got solar
bricks.
also, hey?
Oh yes. So now I'm installing my it's already here for like a while. I have to install it. I will have 41 kilowatt peak of solar power.
That is a huge amount.
That's a huge amount. But it's like, I will hit my, my batteries. I have 67 kilowatt hours of batteries.
How many?
They will be 67.
67.
Yeah, but I will only use, you only use like 80% of it. So I think I have like 53.
I don't even think I
53
need.
net.
I don't think I need more than 6 or 7 kilowatts. Yeah.
No, you don't. I do.
No, because you got quite a big setup.
Yes, I along the greenhouse.
Oh, right,
the
of course,
greenhouse,
of course.
the LEDs. And,
Oh, right. So so it's not just your house. You're powering everything on your property.
everything on the property. Like the chicken coop. My chicken coop alone is 40 square meters, I think. So, I have a ventilation system in there for the chicken, because otherwise, they're in wood, so wood chips. And like after 2 days, they release ammonia. I don't want them to getting intoxicated. So I have a very good ventilation system. I have heaters for the small chicken, for the chicks.
So
and they're like 250 watts.
Are your chickens just for the eggs, or do you eat the chickens too?
Only the roosters, right?
Oh,
I don't eat the chicken. Yeah, I don't eat the hens. The roosters.
right.
Yes, of course they're great. They're amazing.
Free range.
I mean, you have to eat them. Otherwise you have World War III on your property, one rooster against the other. So you can't have too many roosters.
So how do you? What do you do? Do you shoot them?
No, I got a neighbor who loves doing it. I mean, like I help, and but I don't enjoy it too much, right?
No.
But I do it.
Yes.
But I have a neighbor who's like super into this. And I'm like, okay, you wanna slaughter my 10 roosters, you get 2, right? And he's like super happy.
Strike
and
a bargain,
he's doing
baby.
all the cleaning. Yeah, I mean, I do the cleaning, I do the stuff, but it's like, if I can do other stuff, it's fine. If there is someone who wants to do it for me, and he enjoys doing this.
And you also eat fish
So
out of your river or your stream.
the stream doesn't have any fish, and maybe it has some frogs or something.
Oh, okay.
Maybe it has super small fish. It's a very steep one.
Why did I think you?
So the
why did
fish
I think
wouldn't get up there.
you also have
I have an
farm fish?
aquaculture system here. I
Oh,
have an
okay.
aquaculture
There we
system.
go. There we go.
Yes, it's not empty. I want to rebuild it. because it was for scientific purposes. So it had like many different loops, many different single systems. And it's super hard to manage because you have to check the water levels of every subsystem of the 6 subsystems, or 8 subsystems even, 8 subsystems every other day, and so much work. So so I want to combine it and make it one system in the near future. But we had lots of tilapia. It's also very delicious, yes. And once I don't know, the pH was falling and the tilapia was like, it was dropping, and the tilapia was many tilapia was jumping out of the fish tank. And we just found like the dogs were having the best meal ever. They were eating like literally like 5 kilos or 6 kilos of tilapia.
But yes, what's funny though. So, I mean, what you do is very much what I have been talking about on my podcast for years, right? But the reality is, and most people who are listening will say the same thing. They'll go, yeah, but that's very expensive and you need a lot of space.
Yeah. It's not, it's much cheaper than renting a apartment in Europe, let's say. Of course, we bought this plot, which is like a couple of hectares, with a ruin or 2 ruins, right? The houses, it was raining inside. It was, no insulation. Old houses, like 20 years old, and, nobody really cared about them. So we had to redo everything. The roof, everything. The bathrooms, now we own bathroom 2. So it's like, it will take another 5 years until the house, like, back in a good state. But, this costs money, of course.
It's a perfect environment to raise kids in.
Yes, of course. Yeah, well, in between the deadly snakes and jaguars, it's perfect. Yeah.
Do you have jaguars there?
Oh, yes. I saw them with I see them regularly. Yeah. We have 3 different kinds of jaguars, and 4 different kinds of jaguars.
That's quite scary.
So we have the ones that you see in the zoo. The huge one with the yellow one with the dots, the dotted one. We have the same one in small. It's actually super cute, but still, it kills your chicken. It will not kill your dogs or your. And then we have the black one, the panther thing, and then we have like we have a gray one, a gray brown one. So 4 different kinds, and the gray one was in our chicken coop, in our old one. That's why I built a new bunker now. We had one made of wood, and yeah, it was able to break inside, dig underneath, but it didn't find the way out anymore. So we got there in the morning. We're like, "What the fuck?" It was a massacre. And I was like, "What happened?" And this jaguar was just like up at the ceiling. We were like, "What the fuck?" It wasn't too small. It was maybe 40 kilos or something. So it was like it was a jaguar. It was hanging there like full, like the face was red because full of blood. And we're like, "What is this?" Like, we just let it go. Of course, if you didn't kill jaguars, they're very rare. I mean, like, they're a species that needs to be protected, and I don't mind. They get, I've seen a black one getting a chicken of mine. Just saw it like running, grabbing it. I'm like, it's fine, right? I have 40 chicken, so take one, please. But of course, once they are in the chicken coop, they just will kill everything that moves. So of course, they were like, we had 2 hens that were breeding. They didn't move. They didn't move an inch. So they were just like sitting on the eggs, just like observing. And of course, the jaguar didn't kill them because they didn't move, but it killed everything else. But yeah, since then we have the chicken bunker, and nothing gets in there. Nothing. It's a real bunker. So yeah,
a chicken bunker.
Yeah.
I don't think we get jaguars here in South Africa. I think they're native to basically the Americas. We get leopards, which
Yes.
I think are a bit smaller than jaguars. And I think
it's the same. It's the same.
Well, it's similar.
Almost the same.
It's similar. I think
How many kilos does your?
I don't know
As a leopard.
No, I don't know what they weigh, but you can tell the difference with the spots. I think jaguars have got I think they've got spots inside those little patterns. I can't remember now that there is a difference between a jaguar and a leopard.
Leopards. It's between 30 and 90 kilos, and this jaguar here is the difference. And yeah, jaguar is between 60 and 100 kilos.
Okay, so it's slightly bigger.
So jaguar is bigger. But this it's called onça parda. Like, it's the very heavy one is rare here, very rare. So of course, there's been one on my property. I've seen the prints in the mud was like literally like this. It was crazy. They exist here as well, so people have been recording it, but the really big one I haven't seen myself. I've seen the small one, the gray one, and the black one myself. And they're everywhere around. They like literally watch us even. And I have a cat that's running around. I mean, I'm waiting for it to become like breakfast or something. But even like the jaguars could just like I have dogs. We have 4 dogs, 2 Dalmatian dogs that are like huge and heavy, and 2 other dogs that are like.
Have you got Dalmatians?
Yeah.
I can't tell if that makes you a soy boy or not.
My wife is a big fan of Dalmatian dogs. She loves this movie, so she got them. She just got them. She got home with them. Look, I got 2 Dalmatian dogs. I'm like, okay, it's fine. No, actually, they're soy boy is a Chihuahua or a Pinscher or something.
You've got a Dalmatian.
No, they're huge. They're like 35 kilos, a Dalmatian dog.
Actually, Dalmatians are pretty cool dogs. I like them. They remind me of pointers.
Yeah.
Very similar.
And but even a jaguar would kill them. That's why having 4 dogs is good, because they stay together and they don't attack packs. So that's why we have more than 1 dog. 2 dogs are still risky, but like 3 or 4 are usually not attacked. So they are safer together. But otherwise, there are neighbors that lost big dogs to jaguars, big dogs. So they would just come and grab it. Yeah.
What other crazy animals do you get around your house?
Jararaca. It's a pit viper. A very deadly snake.
Now, can you see them pretty easily, or do they like to hide?
Well, you can see them, but they always hide underneath bushes or something. So that's why I have to clean my house. I always keep it very clean next to the house. Underneath the firewood or something. But I had to decaptivate several of them already. So with the machete, it's one hit. And then afterwards, I give it to the chicken. They love it. Oh my gosh, they go crazy.
The chickens eat snakes.
Oh, I love it. It's their favorite food. So actually, having chickens running around, they will eat the baby snakes when they're small. So that's why I let them roam freely. I mean, of course, sometimes a jaguar gets chicken, fine, but the chicken gets so many baby snakes that it's even better. So we rarely see snakes now. In the beginning, it was more. But yeah, maybe 2 or 3 times a year. And once I was walking around, it was like 10 centimeters next to my, and a friend of mine he was like, "Don't move." I'm like, "What the fuck?" I would look down. There was a deadly snake next to my foot, and I was just like running around with Havaianas, barefoot almost. So I was like there. He was just like moving, and then he was like killing it.
When you were telling me your story earlier, you completely forgot to mention one of the biggest parts of your journey. And that was the whole Drosten thing. That was a huge. That's why I got you onto my show.
Yeah, I mentioned it. I mentioned the PCR protocol paper.
In passing, but that was a big deal. It was crazy. Nobody at that stage had done the homework that you had done.
No, and he's still a free man.
Just quickly summarize, just for those who don't know, right? What is it that you discovered?
Oh, so Christian Drosten, professor of virology. He never followed the tenure track. He was literally funded by the Quandt family. The Quandt family also ran, I think, concentration camps during World War II. And they funded him to become like a funded professor at the Charité in Berlin. And he attended meetings in May 2019, and there was about preparing for a pandemic. Oh, what a coincidence! Where like the Bill Gates Foundation, the Wellcome Trust, and where all these people were meeting up, or Fauci at one conference in Berlin, and he was one of these people. And he is like his whole career he was working on PCR tests. So I was going through old interviews of him where he said like a PCR test can't tell if you're It's no diagnostic tool, and you should never use it in order to diagnose if someone is healthy or not. Anyways, his view shifted very quickly in January, when he started saying different stuff. But he was what's super weird is he was been working on a PCR test for COVID beginning in beginning of December 2019, prior to patient zero. It's weird, isn't it? Because he was prior to Christmas, he already gave a ready test to a Slovene lab, and the Slovene lab on their website stated that they have been testing, this PCR test for a couple of weeks, and like who says it? A couple of weeks saying it at the end of December is weird. So he's been creating it before the pandemic started, and also in the same time, which is even weirder, he was like the first person who was in contact with patient zero in Germany, a Chinese woman, right? Weird, because he's not an MD, so why him? And much weirder, his peer review process of the PCR protocol, it was published within 24 hours from submission until publication,
which is unheard of.
It never happened before. It's like your grandma winning a 100-meter race against Usain Bolt. It's not going to happen. But he managed it, and at the same time, he was on the board, on the editorial board of the journal, and the journal was EU owned, and the editor of the journal, his friend. So it's all like weird. And then Marion Koopmans, who was his co-author, the state virologist of the Netherlands, she was in the WHO committee who made this test gold standard the day after. Isn't it weird? And made it public. Of course, everybody around Marion Koopmans was then contacting my university, and they got me fired. But
it's just a coincidence, Simon.
Super corrupt. Yeah, and Marion Koopmans later was thrown out of this committee because she took money from the Chinese Communist Party. I find it weird, and that was a reason for them to fire me. They said, like, everything you said was correct, but you can say that.
Drosten was a complete hack. Still.
Lord. It's still. I mean, like, there's, so many threads about him where he said, like, the total opposite within one day even. And this would be a reason to, get fired at least, to get thrown into prison. So he was literally committing crimes against humanity. He was admitting it. And he's still running free. Nothing is happening to him. Who's protecting him?
And
someone.
His role in COVID was massive.
Yeah, it's the main role. Everybody's like Fauci, but it's Drosten.
And the paper that was published that challenged his protocol, which was submitted to Eurosurveillance, was dismissed. It was rejected, I think.
They just ignored it.
And it had, like, I think if I remember correctly, like 21 contributing scientists or something.
Yep, exactly. They just ignored it. And we were asking them to at least show, whenever there's a peer review process, the peer reviewers need to go, through the document and leave comments, correct? And we asked them to make these comments public. And they said, like, no, we can't, because it would violate the personal rights of the reviewers. And we said, like, it doesn't make any sense because the peer review process is anonymous. And then they stopped ignoring us again. They never made anything public.
I mean, that also shows that peer review is broken.
Yeah, of course, peer review process is broken. And the weirdest thing in peer review process, usually you invite your own friends, because it's always like, you have to suggest someone to peer review it, and you put your own friends, and your friends are in favor of you. So this is how it usually works. So if you're a small scientist, you can't put your friends, because they wouldn't take them. But if you are a scientist with power, you know all the other famous scientists, or like powerful scientists, and you just put them as reviewers, and they do you a favor. It's like, Peter Hotez, also a big piece of shit. He has been doing this the whole time. He's been publishing in the Lancet and in Nature during the whole pandemic, and he published commentaries where he said, like, okay, we should treat people who who speak out against COVID like terrorists. We need we need a SWAT anti-terrorist force to bring them down and stuff like this. So he was talking like a Zionist. Oh, wait, he's a Zionist Jew. But anyways, he was talking like in that way, and he was called for violence against us, and he still has got his position. And he's been in front of Congress, and he's been lying so many times, and there's no consequence for him. And he's been lying literally about so many things.
Yeah, listen to this. Listen to this. Sorry, while you're talking, I'll quickly pull this up. The reviewers found severe conflicts of interest among at least 4 authors of the Corman-Drosten paper. Both Drosten and co-author Chantal Ruskin sat on the editorial board of Eurosurveillance, the very journal that published and later declined to retract the paper. And co-author Alfred Lunt, who was the CEO of TIB, I can't pronounce this, Mulboil, which manufactured the PCR test kits using the Corman-Drosten primers, was distributing those kits about a week before the paper was even submitted for publication.
Olfert Land is Drosten's personal friend.
Is that right?
And yes, and they also ran a testing company together.
And yet says
in Berlin.
And yet confirms what you said. The paper was submitted and accepted within a single day.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the whole
not
world
even accepted. It was wait. It was submitted and published. So you have to. There's still a typesetter who needs to work at least for 6 hours or 12 hours to typeset everything. So the typesetter part is actually the most important one because that takes the most time. So within 24 hours, it got submitted. The editor allegedly found peer reviewers. They accepted it. And then he had several iterations because in one iteration, several iterations that was accepted every time by the editor and the author. And then someone got totally accepted. It was sent to the typesetter, and then there were like 2 or 3 iterations that you always need for the typesetter. Then it got published, all within 24 hours. It's impossible. It's impossible. It's impossible. The fastest I ever had was my vitamin D paper, and it took 3 months. And this was like also because they wanted to get these COVID papers out. So it was like literally said like fast track, 3 months, the fastest. All right. And this was 24 hours.
It's unbelievable. Listen to this. So
it's unheard of. And then it's impossible.
Drosten publicly acknowledged making mistakes during the pandemic. Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, shame.
He said
mistakes were made.
Them. Closing schools. He said like, oh, we need to close the schools. He said like children will kill their grandparents, etc. So he was for school closure. And later he said like, I never said this. And then people showed them, but you said it here. Oh yeah, well, out of context. So yeah, but he should be in jail forever. Not like just like lifelong, but literally like forever. You know, lifelong in Europe means 16 years or something. But you have like lifelong, real lifelong.
Well, regarding the paper that had a bunch of scientists challenging it, that was rejected by Eurosurveillance, they pointed out that his PCR test protocol was designed using in silico, which is computer modeling, gene sequences, and not an isolated viral RNA. So since no physical virus samples were available at the time, so he was just
he got the sequence from a Chinese social media website.
And that's what the whole world ended up using.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why almost every test was false positive.
Which right off the bat shows the entire thing was a scam.
Yeah, of course it was a scam. He was always saying like in interviews in 2014, 2018, I dug them all up. And he always said like, oh no, you can't diagnose. It's impossible. You can't do this. It's like, you shouldn't do it.
Well, I mean,
like Mullis said as well.
Kerry
You
Mullis
can't do
said
this.
the
And then
same
suddenly,
thing. Yes.
exactly. And then he suddenly said, like in February, March, oh no, we have to mass test the whole world. Like, I mean, like if your whole life you say one thing and suddenly you say the opposite. Oh, same with masks. He made so many interviews about masks. He was like, oh, mask doesn't stop a virus. I mean, you can't. And then he said like, you have to double mask, you have to triple mask, blah 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 blah. So he was like, contradicting himself. And then actually, this should be, but the courts don't care. Someone called him a mass murderer, and like, who got who got convicted? The person calling him a mass murderer, not Drosten, who is a mass murderer, by the way. Who is a mass murderer? Everybody's talking about Albert. Now, what was his name again? They always call me this.
The head of
the
Pfizer.
Nazi doctor. No, who's the Nazi doctor again?
Oh, you're talking
Mengele.
about Mengele.
People like these COVID, the zealots. They always call me Mengele. Because they think that my opinion on COVID killed people, but I think in my opinion, Drosten is much worse than Mengele. Much worse if you just get yourself familiar with Mengele and how many people he allegedly killed. But look what Drosten did. It goes into millions. I don't know, tens of millions maybe. I don't know how many victims COVID had. Most victims were due to suicide, taking their livelihood taken, blah, blah, blah. Just looking into the poor countries, the suicide rates went up. Without Drosten's PCR test and the paper, without these things, we wouldn't have seen any pandemic because we wouldn't have seen any excess mortality. We wouldn't have seen anything. Without Drosten, these millions of people would still be alive. So,
And he made a lot of money from it. We don't.
Oh, of course.
We don't know how much he made, but listen to this. He received around $335,000 just from the Gates Foundation, and that we're not talking even about the PCR tests.
Yeah.
So here it says here, his company sold one of the world's largest diagnostic companies, Lunt sold TIB Molboy to Roche, one of the world's largest diagnostics companies. The acquisition price was not publicly disclosed, but Roche's total testing sales that year alone were just under $20 billion US, with COVID diagnostics leading.
Yes. So Olfert Land made all the money. Olfert Land is Drosten's personal friend. And Drosten, I think he made it's just like tens of millions probably. But just like we don't know because nothing is disclosed. But we know that he was involved in this testing company, and Olfert Land's tests, and he was working with Olfert Land on everything. So why would he let Olfert Land make billions and he himself, who made everything possible, gets nothing?
Over 60 million tests, PCR tests with the Drosten protocol were delivered in the first year alone before the Corman-Drosten paper was even submitted for publication.
I know. It's wild, isn't it? Why? It's weird, right? It's like actually business model. You're like, okay, why should we take the risk? Because they knew it was going to happen. They knew it. I mean, otherwise, why? As I said before, why would you send this test to a lab in Slovenia before patient zero in China? And you remember these videos in China, right? Where they were dropping dead on the roads, like a symptom we haven't seen anywhere else, right? And he knew all this before. He knew what was going to happen.
And the funny thing is that nobody actually knows any of this. They just focus on Fauci.
Yeah. They just did that. And nobody is focusing on who made this pandemic possible.
And I'm not
Christian Drosten.
I'm not in any way being apologetic for Fauci, but he didn't really actually do much other than talk on TV.
Yeah, I agree. This is he financed some labs in China. But he wasn't actively, starting this scam.
He was basically just theater to keep everybody distracted.
Could be. I know what was going behind the scenes. I mean, we had Barrage as well. We had all these other bad players, but they were more connected to Drosten. But yeah, we'll probably never find out because if we found out, there would probably be a revolution. A global one. What did our governments do to us? Why are these people still free? And it's a scandal. It's scandalous that they are not trying to.
Something similar happened here in South Africa with HIV/AIDS. The PCR test was used for that, and the whole thing was fraudulent back then already.
Yeah, I know the story. It's insane. Yeah, so they just That's why I think. But people woke up now. People will not get tested anymore easily. I hope so. It's going to be way harder to pull it off again. Maybe in 20, 30 years when people forgot, they will come up with something new. But I think the next 1 or 2 decades, we are safe from this bullshit. But they come up with new stuff every time, There's always going to be a new thing in order to enslave us even more. Let's see what's the next one.
Yes, unless people can do more of what you're doing by trying to become as self-sufficient as possible.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the way to go. Try to be. You as well on your vineyard there. Huh?
Yeah, I live on a farm.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, you haven't visited. You must come and stay with me.
I should, but South Africa isn't the place to go right now, I heard. Lots of violence.
Media.
So more or less than in Brazil. Probably more.
I think it's probably a bit more. But come on, you're based.
Yeah, true.
Not that bad.
Yeah.
All
but
right.
can you have weapons in South Africa?
Have we got weapons?
Can everybody own a weapon
Yes.
in South Africa?
Yeah,
Okay.
I do.
Then safe. Okay, cool. Then I feel safe. Then I should come visit you.
My wife was going to, but then she fell pregnant, so that got paused.
Sad.
Simon, you've got like over 1 million followers on X. So other than X,
And you dropped back to 200.
I removed myself entirely. So I've only just returned.
And you had like 50,000 followers, Jerm.
I'm always fighting with that kind of thing, though. I'm always being censored and having to go back to 0 and all that kind of stuff. But listen, so you've got over 1 million followers on X. Other than X, how can I follow you? You said Telegram earlier.
Telegram, just my surname.
Simon
just
Goddek.
Just Goddek, I think, is my channel. And on X is the same, just Goddek. Just my surname, Goddek. And these are the two channels. Yeah. So I don't do TikTok,
No.
They would kick me off right away for anti-Semitism anyway. So yeah, no TikTok.
You're not an anti-Semite.
No, I'm not.
I mean, you've got nothing against
I like
Arabs.
Palestinian people.
Yeah, you've got
No,
nothing against
exactly.
Arabs, yes.
Yeah.
All right,
No,
listen.
I don't.
Simon Goddek, in the spirit of our conversation, I'll end by saying this.
Thank you for joining me in the trenches. Yeah, you're welcome.
Thanks for watching to the end of the video. If you got value from it, consider joining as a channel member, which directly supports what we do here. The link is below, and if you're hungry for more, here are 2 more videos for you, and we'll see you in the next one.